One thing that always got me, made me feel better about having that overactive bladder was, you know what, Pri? You're never going to see these people ever again. They're probably going to remember you for taking a shit and peeing your pants, but that's okay. They don't know who you are. Unless, you know what, you're watching my video right now, and you know what? Hi, I'm Pri. I have no overactive bladder, and hey guys, so in this video, I really want to be talking about dating with having an overactive bladder. And why I wanted to talk about this is because I know there's been quite a few of you guys who messaged me on Instagram to talk about your experiences being on even first dates with having an OAB. And I've always felt so bad because in my head, all I can ever think about were my experiences that I've had having an OAB while being on dates. But I was like, you know what, I think I should make a video on this because I feel like there will be a few people that may not have messaged me on Instagram. So if you're watching my video right now, I really do hope this video cheers you up if you just feel like crap for having an overactive bladder while you're on your dates. Yeah, so before I begin this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And for now, I hope you guys enjoy this video. Now, I thought I would start off this video with talking about, I guess, my experience of having an overactive bladder while being on first dates. And why I wanted to talk about this is not just to embarrass myself, because I feel like I'm so open with you guys, I don't have a filter, but I feel like maybe it would make you feel better if you also have an overactive bladder and have felt like crap while being on a date. Because honestly guys, I tell you that we got this, but we don't, because it's just gonna come when it does, and that's fine. But I just want you guys to know that you're not alone in this. A lot of us go through an overactive bladder. We're all in this together. Now, I'm like smiling right now, but why I wanted to be talking about this is because there's been quite a few of you guys who've actually messaged me on Instagram to tell me, I'm like out of breath. I feel like there's been quite a few of you guys who've messaged me on Instagram to tell me about your experiences with having an overactive bladder while you've been on dates, and even on first dates, and how it's just been so goddamn embarrassing for you. Now, if it makes you feel any better, I've been there and done that. By this I mean, I've been on dates about 3 years ago where I would go on dates and I would pretty much take a shit in my bottoms. Now, the problem with this was the fact that I would be on the date and the guy would notice and he just wouldn't say anything because how do you really respond to that or say anything, you know? The problem for me was the fact that in 2017, while I was experiencing having an overactive bladder for the very first time, I never discovered adult diapers then. I've only discovered them in 2019. So what was I doing for the 2 years without having a adult diaper or a pull-up on when I'm going outside? Well, I would just pretty much just wet myself outside in public and everyone would see. And one thing that always got me, made me feel better about having that overactive bladder was, you know what, Pri? You're never going to see these people ever again. They're probably going to remember you for taking a shit and peeing your pants, but that's okay. They don't know who you are. Unless, you know what, you're watching my video right now, and you know what? Hi, I'm Pri. I have no overactive bladder. And my experience on dates have been so horrible for me, not because just the guy just didn't end up being what I wanted him to be, but just the fact that having an overactive bladder while you're on dates is the most embarrassing thing ever. And why I'm even saying this is because when I would go on dates in 2017 as well as 2018, this was difficult for me because every single time I would plan to go on a date with a guy, the first thing I always had to worry about wasn't the fact that, oh, what if this guy is like a catfish? Or what if this guy isn't as cute as he is in his pictures? I wasn't even nervous about that at all. But what I was nervous about was the fact that, oh my gosh, Pri, you really need to hold in your bladder before you go on these dates. I've been on quite a few dates where I've actually taken a shit and even wet myself. And as I mentioned, right, I never discovered adult diapers in 2017 as well as 2018. So I would pretty much go in my bottoms and they would notice. And the date would just end right there because I would literally just immediately be like, okay, I need to go home. We would just depart ways, literally, and we wouldn't even say anything. We wouldn't even say a bye or just hug goodbye or whatever. We would just, okay, bye. And then we just left. I don't know if it was just me just being an awkward person and not knowing how to communicate with people in 2017, but it probably was that as well. But yeah. on dates where guys never understood why I had an overactive bladder, or like I never really was open about it with people because I just didn't feel like I needed to be. Like, why do I need to explain myself to people when I'm going through a difficulty with having an overactive bladder? Like, you know what I mean? So I never really told people about it at the time, and it definitely took a toll on me because I always felt so insecure about myself because I didn't know how to go on dates or meet guys without having to wet myself and having them notice, because they would just think I was just a goddamn idiot. If there's one thing I took away from having an overactive bladder, it's the fact that you start to understand who's going to be there for you and who isn't during your time of need, and this just gets into my next point. While being on these dates and having an overactive bladder, if there's one thing that it teaches you, it's the fact that you'd start to understand who would be there for you and who wouldn't during your time of need on day one. And why I'm even saying this is because I feel like even if you're on your first date and you wet yourself and the guy or the girl notices that you've done what you did, they're gonna have to react a certain way. So they're either gonna be like, okay, I never want to see this person again, or they're actually gonna be very understanding and just let it go and just be like, who cares? Honestly, you guys are the keepers. But yeah, I just felt like I had to add this into this video because for those of you who've just always felt like shit for going on dates and not being able to hold in your bladder when you just basically had to, I just wanted you to know that it's okay. And it's specifically because if the person just walks away from you or just reacts a certain way that is not very supportive, then I'm sorry, but they got to go. Like, I don't understand why you're holding on to something when it's clearly not your bladder. You know what? There's plenty of fish in the sea, and I guess vegan fish for me. But yeah, So for me, it took me a while to understand how to have self-love, especially in 2017 as well as 2018. Now, why I'm saying this is because I have been on dating apps, and with me being on these dating apps, it made me feel insecure in a way because, as I mentioned, right, I would always wet myself and take a shit while being on dates, and the guys would notice and they would end up ghosting me because I was just a weirdo. But yeah, it's just, with being on these dates, it just kind of like made me feel insecure. It made me feel like I didn't love myself just because I had I still have an overactive bladder. For me, having that self-love was so difficult for me, just even being on dates, because I didn't know how to accept myself as I was because the other people around me were not really accepting me. So like the dates I was going on. And that was hard for me to love myself because you start to grow like all these insecurities of not knowing why you're just not the norm. But if there's anything I could tell you right now, when I think about 2017 as well as 2018 and all the dates I've been on in the past, if there's one thing I've learned, it's the fact that self-love is just so goddamn important. Some of you may think I'm an idiot for even saying that, but I think it's so important because I think the first person that you should ever be thinking about is not the goddamn date you're on, but rather yourself. Like, I feel like you're what comes first, and it's like not a lot of people tell you that, or like they'll tell you that, but it'll tell you in a different context. But I'm telling you about it in the context of having an OAB. If you have an OAB, I just want you to know that you don't need anyone to make you feel loved. And I think you should really spend time loving yourself, because I know this is something that I've actually realized honestly not too long ago, probably about a month ago, where I felt like I didn't love myself to the extent in which other people did. But I just felt, I guess I still had those hidden insecurities inside of me that I just didn't realize I had. To think about it now, and these dates I've been on, like, I know people have been on dates that they're never going to forget about in terms of it being just a terrible date, but this is probably going to be something no one's ever going to forget about, because what girl honestly takes a shit and pees themselves on their first date, right? Pretty much it to my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys found this video helpful. For those of you who have an overactive bladder and who are experiencing taking a shit and peeing when you're not supposed to while you're on dates. But yeah, just let me know in the comments below what you guys thought about this video, or if it's just not a very comfortable topic to talk about in the comments. Message me on Instagram or even just send me an email, and I will get back to you. I'd honestly love to hear from you. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Follow me on Instagram and check out my blog. I'll post links down below as always. And I'll see you guys in my next video that will be up soon. So bye guys.